How Roman emperors handled the succession problem. Can you imagine the world where Steve Jobs doesn't have to create Apple from scratch, but instead inherits all the resources and talented engineers of IBM or a different mature company? This is a world with more Apple products, a world with better technology and with better design. Can you then further imagine if after Steve Jobs retires from his position, the position is carried on and the company is further handed off to someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk? They're not going to have the aesthetic sense of Jobs, but they will bring their own unique genius to the job. That world is a notably richer world, both in economic sense and in the sense of knowledge and in the sense of art. How can we solve the succession problem to reach a notably richer world? The simple solution is to look at where this has already worked. In the past, in one of the greatest civilizations of recorded history, the Roman Empire, succession was a well-understood problem. Civil wars would rock the empire and the republic, tearing them apart, pitting brother versus brother. In the Roman Empire, there existed this period called the Five Good Emperors. The era of the Five Good Emperors was a period of peace and stable succession from Nerva to Trajan to Hadrian to Antonius Pius to Marcus Aurelius. What was working well? Well, they were all descended from each other, not in blood, but in name. These were adopted sons, the entire chain, Nerva to Trajan to Hadrian to Antonius Pius to Marcus Aurelius. Adult adoption was practiced in the ancient Roman world. It was the practice of naming someone your successor, giving them your name, your social connections, and also making them the legal inheritor of your estate and all your rights. They would carry on your memory and would gain glory from honoring your memory. In the shrine of ancestors that every Roman home has, they would put your funeral mask, and they would converse with you and give you sacrifices. This was a spiritual, social, and legal arrangement that was well understood and carried weight in Roman culture. So if you offered to make someone your adopted son, this was an offer that could be trusted. An empty promise of you get to be president after I'm done being president has probably been made hundreds of times in various third world countries, probably also in Europe, probably also in the United States. But it's a difficult promise to trust without the backing social fabric. The promise that I will make my name your name and the glory of my deeds will transfer to you could work in the Roman context. This was a wonderful political alchemy that turned your greatest enemy into your strongest supporter. Anything you achieve reflects well on them. Any good deed to your name, any good word attached to your name becomes their name. The century of prosperity of the Five Good Emperors ended when the political circumstances made it impossible for Marcus Aurelius to transfer power to anyone but his son. Power succession had failed. He could not decide who will be the next most powerful individual in the organization he was ahead of. This shows up in other contexts. Consider the election of a Roman pontiff, that is the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Or consider the succession problems in companies, as we discussed earlier. Later in Roman history, they upgrade this practice, reinstituting adoption. In the reign of Diocletian, the system is advanced further and comes to solve the skill succession component of the succession problem. Not only do you transfer power to an heir, but you pick an heir that is, in fact, as brilliant or as skilled as you are, or at least as experienced. In the reign of Diocletian, two titles are instituted, one of Augustus, the senior emperor, and one of Caesar, the junior emperor. You would pick a successful general or statesman, adopt him as your son, give them the title of Caesar, and they would then have the responsibility of directly governing a part of the country. Can you imagine a world where people entering the office of president have already had analogous experience? The position of governor is nothing like the position of a sovereign. The experience of Caesar to Augustus provided a useful period of tutelage, perhaps even apprenticeship. Dividing up the job among close allies also helps the management of complexity, for the Roman emperor was also a religious figure, not just a military figure, and a person of great legal authority, perhaps comparable to the Supreme Court. the management of the empire in this critical time in the period of Diocletian halts the decline. However, the system eventually also breaks down. You might wonder, are these ancient examples actionable and relevant to the modern world? Surely technological advances and the demands of an industrial economy contradict such simple succession mechanisms. The answer is no, actually they apply. We can find modern examples. The example of Japan, the world's third largest economy, where they practice mukoyoshi. Mukoyoshi is the practice of son-in-law adoption. The daughter of an industrialist or financier is expected to pick a spouse primarily on their business and leadership ability rather than personal romantic consideration. Once a candidate is found, they marry, and the son-in-law takes the father-in-law's name, becomes his son in all respects, and starts working at the company at a senior position with the understanding that come retirement or come death, he will run the company. Household names like Kikkoman, Suzuki, and Toyota have made use of this succession mechanism. Now, in the modern American context, the Roman solution doesn't work. If you imagine the powerful and the wealthy adopting each other as sons and daughters, you would at best feel outrage, or perhaps at worst with call for the banning of such a practice. The social context of the family gods and the family name is no longer there. If you try to practice mukoyoshi in an American context, your sons and daughters probably would not play along. Marriage right now is a matter of romantic connection, barely involving family, and certainly not tied to business decisions. It would again at best be seen as an empty formality and a loophole to escape taxation. But we must find a solution to the succession problem. Because we must find one, let's now examine and think carefully about what might work in an American cultural and legal context, and consider perhaps the American culture needs to learn and adapt from the past to reach forward into the future. My name is Samo Burja. I'm the founder of Bismarck Analysis. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe.